What's going on, part of my presence YouTube channel? I want to discuss something that is happening way too often now. It's getting ridiculous, and that is the public apologies. Too many people are apologizing for the things that they've said, and the problem that I have here is that the things that they were saying that they're apologizing for, they said it truthfully. They meant what they said. They're apologizing because they don't want to deal with the backlash. Whether that's backlash from other people, whether that's backlash financially from sponsors being pulled, whether that's backlash from the threat of being fired or suspended. There's too many apologies that are based on the fact that they were caught. I just like to apologize. But at the time when they were saying it, they felt they were bad. They were badass. I'm talking about DJ Academics. He went off. Now, I'm not really one to cover this, but this leads to other issues as well too. But today he just came out and he apologized for the things that he said about John Legend and John Legend's wife, Chrissy Teigen. He said a lot of nasty things. Now, this is all based on his stick that, he gets drunk on his live streaming. He talks a lot of trash. And we're all supposed to say, oh, it's no big deal. He doesn't mean it. He's drunk. He's performing. This is some type of experiment where he gets drunk and he says wild shit. Yeah. And this is the point I want to make here. This is double speak. You say one thing, you mean it. It's how you really feel. But they don't want to deal with the consequences, so I just like to apologize. And then you go about your way. You might pull back and get suspended because apparently now he's going to be away for 2 episodes. Like, who cares? But the issue here is that he gets to say everything that he wanted to say. He gets to be as politically incorrect as he wanted to be. And then come back the next day or the next week and say, I just like to apologize. And then disappear for a couple of days and get back to the regular scheduled program. I just don't want to pick on DJ Academics because it's not just him. It also happened to the New Orleans Saints quarterback, Drew Brees. Out of nowhere, he gets asked a question about kneeling for the national anthem and the protest that Colin Kaepernick started how long ago. And Drew Brees' response, and it's weird because you would assume that this question was a question that, was off the cuff, but it really wasn't, because his response was very, very, or at least it seemed to me, it was very rehearsed, very to a script. We spoke about his grandfather and his great-great-grandfather fought in wars and put their life on the line for the flag, and he's not for anyone disrespecting the flag. That protest wasn't about the flag. Two different things. And after all these years since it happened, Colin Kaepernick's been out of the league for 2-3 years? And you still don't understand the point. And then and the thing is, this happened at the time where you had issues with Ahmaud Arbery, issues with Breonna Taylor. And if I'm not mistaken, the George Floyd case happened around the same time as well too. So 3 examples of stories of black people losing their lives over BS. And you come out and you say something that's very tone deaf and besides the point. It was deflection. And then what happened after his own players on his own team lit him up, took him to task? I'd like to apologize. But if you heard him speak initially, he meant every word he said. Double speak. He meant every word that he said. The way how I look at it, you speak to one audience, you apologize, backtrack, and you speak to another audience. Double speak. Academics did the same thing as well too. He spoke to his core audience, talking all kind of shit about people, going off, saying reckless shit. That was for his core audience, his core fan base. Then corporate gets involved. I'd like to apologize. So he doesn't lose any sponsors. So he doesn't lose any money. Because let me tell you something. If you really felt that what he said was wrong, and you really felt that you need to apologize because that's not who you are, it wasn't what you meant, you were off to Henny, you were drunk, and you had no filter. If that's really how you felt, what would be the right thing to do? You would pull that live stream. You would pull that video. That video is still there. It's still on his channel. How many views does it have? How many likes? What's the exposure on that? Millions and millions of hits. Who gets that money? Who gets the revenue? He does. So now, what has happened? You create a spectacle, get all the hits, your core audience is satisfied, and then you do the apology. That gets probably the same amount of hits as well too, because now everyone's looking to find out what he's apologizing for. It becomes a big deal. It's all on the local news. It's on social media all over the place. All the blog sites. Now the apology gets the hits. Win-win. Double speak. You know who else did this? There's a guy, what's his name? Dawson or Shane Dawson. I don't follow these guys, but I heard about this. He said some BS as well too. What did he do? I'd like to apologize. The BS they initially said, a lot of hits, a lot of views. His apology, more views. Still wins. All the BS that he said is still online. Some of it will take it down from what I understand, but a lot of the BS that he does is still online. Win-win. Double speak. I'll give you a last example of someone who does this. Donald J. Trump. Right? What did he do recently on Twitter? Twitter is his favorite go-to. He put up a video of some type of neighborhood, some type of I don't know, it's a golf club, country club area in Florida of all places. There's some type of protest that was going on, and the people who were left wing were protesting against people who were right wing in that particular area. And he was for the people who were fighting the protesters or standing up to the protesters. And in that clip, one of the people from the right wing side yelled out, "White power." Now, the whole thing with the conservatives, they always say Trump is not a racist. I'm not going to get into a debate on whether he is or not. However, him putting that up and him supporting that particular neighborhood and calling them great people, and this is what they're spouting off as far as white power, it makes you wonder, what is he endorsing? And then what happened? It was taken off. It was erased from Twitter. And what did his White House chief of staff or his representatives do? Oh, he wasn't aware. That statement was made, I believe, in 8 seconds of that clip. You tell me it wasn't vetted? You don't know? Doublespeak. He knows who he's talking to. Just like during the protests in Minneapolis, where he made comments. And again, Trump doesn't make off-the-cuff comments. These are all calculated, worded precisely for the intended effect, to rile up the targeted audience. Where he called the people that were protesting thugs, and he incited violence. We know who he's talking to. We know what he's trying to do. Doublespeak. But then he'll go back and say, no, we that's not what we meant. There's good people on both sides. We talk about the rioters, not the protesters. All kind of things that he will say. But he's speaking to a core audience initially. And then he'll reel it back in and say something more politically correct, more digestible by the masses. But the core audience got the message. They know how he feels. He's been towing that line his whole time, his whole tenure. Even during the initial campaign in 2016, he's been towing that line. Say one thing to your core audience, speak in code. For all I know, Kofifi could have been some of code, special code, speak to his core audience. I don't know. But what I do know is that he'll say one thing, and he'll turn around and say something else. Doublespeak. So I just want to point that out to you. When people speak with intention, with purpose, with conviction, that is who they are. Make no mistake about it. If they apologize afterwards, it's because you made it a point to let them know that you weren't comfortable with what they had to say. And now they feel guilty, so they're going to apologize. Not necessarily because they don't believe what they said, they don't now disagree with what they said. It's because they are doing it just to make you feel comfortable, or they are doing it to save their own behinds, or they are doing it because they see it as a way to put an end to any further conflict. But it's really what they felt. It's really where they stand. It's really who they are. So when you come across people in your everyday life and they speak this way and they say things that are hurtful, 7 to 9 times out of 10, that is who they are. That is what they believe. Kevin Hart, with what he said 10 years back, that is how he felt. He didn't want to apologize, but he did, to save his behind, to save his potential earning revenue, to save his brand, to save his career. But that is how he felt. I said to apologize. And it really takes away from the purpose of an apology. The apology really should be something that you do as a form of self-reflection. Something that you do when you realize that what you said was wrong. It shouldn't be forced, because a lot of people I see now, they're apologizing right away, but they haven't done the homework. They haven't done the self-reflection. They haven't done the introspection to say, you know what? What I said was not right. For these list of reasons. Not because of money. Because it might be inaccurate. It's a stereotype. I misspoke. It was offensive, disrespectful. It's not a true representation of who I am as a person. You can even go as far as saying, you know what, I was an idiot back then. I may have been impressionable. I may have been a jerk. But certain events in my life has caused me to realize, and this is before I got caught, certain events in my life helped me to realize that I was on the wrong path. And I've changed. And I've done A, B, C, and D as a form of attrition to say, I've changed. I've become wiser. I'm doing the work. I may not be able to take back what I said, but here's what I'm doing to right my wrongs. That is a true apology. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not doublespeak. Once again, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel. Part of my presence YouTube channel. Do you agree, disagree? Are you a fan of doublespeak? Do you think it's okay when people just apologize right away without even doing the knowledge, without doing the reflection? Do you believe their apology? Or do you believe what they said initially? I don't believe in backtracking. I don't agree with backtracking. Once I know how you feel, it doesn't matter how you apologize, especially if you apologize right away. I still know who you are now. And that's one thing you should never forget. Part of my presence YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.